Would it help if I added myself to the stream? Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is the Managed Comics Thought Stream for Thursday, April 14th. And it's been a couple weeks since we've done these. At the end of this, I got a really exciting announcement about our thought streams going forward. But yeah, let's get right into it. And this week, I thought it would be cool to do a checkup on our Google My Businesses. I check up ours about every 3 months just to make sure everything's good on our end. But it's always a great idea for you to check yours up. And so we're going to go through a few different things. But first, let me say hi to some folks. We got Jeff Bixler from Oxford Comics and Games. BD Cosmos is here. Alter Ego's here. Craig McPartner's here. We've got Dream Days here. We've got, it's Alter Ego again. I don't think I know you guys. Yeah, comics. Cool. Welcome, 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 folks. So Dream Days asks what streaming software we're using. I use StreamYard for this, and it's really slick and easy to use, and it allows me to send things to multiple chat or destinations at once. So right now we're streaming to both Facebook and YouTube at the same time. Oh, Cosmic Capes Comics. Cool. Welcome, guys. All right, let's jump into it. So we got some cool things. We're going to start out with some little Managed Comics update, and then I'm just going to change the screens that I have things on. There we go. That'll be a little bit easier. So we'll start out with a Managed Comics update, and then we're going to do get into our Google My Business, and I am going to live update our Google My Business. So we'll see how terrible that can go. But let's jump into a development update. So we have been spending a lot of time over the last little while working on getting our data better. The data from the publishers has gotten substantially worse in the last 6 months. In the last 3 months, it's gotten quite frankly pathetic to the point where Marvel data of 247 comics that were released, so actual comics that were solicited for April, and that means all covers. So there's probably only like 90 comics, but there's 243 covers. Of those, there were 145 errors in the system. 147, sorry, because it was just over 48%. So this is getting kind of out of control, and this is the fourth month in a row where we've had over 120 errors from Marvel. Now, conversely, let's take a look at all the rest of the Diamond catalog. 67 errors. 67 for probably close to 1,000 covers. Marvel 250, 147 errors. So yeah, we've had conversations with different people. We're hoping to get some help on their end because it's their data and we want to make sure it's right from them before it comes to us. I mean, a couple of months ago, every single comic, like from Daredevil on, was written and drawn by Chip Zdarsky, which is not normal. So, yeah, we're constantly kind of fighting with the data, and it's gotten worse. But good news, we now have Diamond UK data, which is really cool because it also means that we can actually import in Comic Suite stuff and have Diamond series codes, which is great. So that is good, and that means our GeekFetch data is getting better all the time. Plus, we have humans actually looking at the data quite regularly now, so that's helpful as well. Coolest new product that we're actually about to launch is subscriber email campaigns within Managed Comics. So these will not count as part of your Shopify emails. These are only going to count as Managed Comics emails. We're not going to throttle them for now, but we are going to monitor it and see if we have to start charging more because we pay, a couple cents for every 100 emails that go out. So as long as it kind of stays around our threshold, which we pay quite a bit for, I think like 100,000 emails a month. As long as it stays within that threshold, we won't have to raise the prices. But if this gets really popular, and we may have to just kind of tweak a little pricing change around emails. So the more emails you use, the more you'd pay. And we're talking like a buck or two. We're not talking a significant amount of money that you'd end up paying. But yeah, I'm not too worried about it right now. So the cool thing that we've got here is we started out with the settings, so you can actually set this to look like your store. By default, it's going to have a Managed Comics logo in it. You can paste in your logo URL um, from your actual like website logo thing. It's just a logo URL, and I'll show some instructions on how to do that. And you can change the reply to email. You can change the store name that it's going to come from in the from, and you'll see a preview in real time on the left hand side of everything that you do. So it's pretty cool. Jeff asks, is this going to lead to us being able to easily deep link to entries within Managed Comics? Well, you can deep link to entries within Managed Comics right now. So if you want to add like the new Amazing Spider-Man, you can deep link right into that super easily. But yeah, it's also going to give some more tools, and we'll talk about some of those that will let you do things like pull emails every week. That'll let you do FOC emails. That'll let you do new release emails. So we're kind of building out that stuff. So that actually gets into the part that's done right now that I don't think we're going to release because it's not really terribly useful until we have everything. So remember, these emails will only go to people who are subscribers in your Managed Comics part. So they won't go to like just your regular Shopify people. Only people who are subscribed to series or have pre-orders in their queue, kind of thing. So this will let you send emails to let them know about things related to their subscription account. If you're having subscriber sales, if you want to let them know that the books didn't come in this week because, you know, all the trucks got snowed in, which is happening, I think, right now in Winnipeg, Canada. So you'd be able to let them know, things that they may need to know about the store. We are working right now on a pulls email that once we get that one done and the general, then we'll release this kind of widely. It's really cool though. So you can write in the right-hand panel and you see all the things that happen in the left-hand panel. With the pulls email, we'll actually send a list of the items that have been pulled for that specific customer that week. And you'll be able to edit this kind of body text area, and you'll be able to edit the subject. By default for the pulls, we'll provide like a default subject line, which is like pulls for the week of blah, blah, blah. And then the subject would be, or the body would be like, here are your pulls this week. But you can override any of those things before you send them out. We do not send these emails out automatically because over the last couple of months, I've been talking to a lot of stores, and I think I've probably talked to like 40 stores, and I think there's 65 ways that those 40 stores do their polls every week. So rather than making it super, super complicated so that we had to write if then else if when, we'll just make it so that you guys can trigger it yourselves. And I think that'll be helpful. Question from Alter Ego Lounge. Would we be able to send email to all that are subscribed to a certain title? So we don't have that ability yet, but that's certainly something that we'll be looking forward to in the future, which brings me to the next slide, vote on features. So if you go to roadmap.managedcomics.com, the first thing you're going to see is the change log, which will show you kind of what we've been working on and what we've released. But the roadmap will show you what we're immediately working on. And then if you click on feature requests, you're going to see everything that has been requested in our backlog. If you have a request that you'd like to make, please, by all means, add it to this list. If you see a request on there that you like, upvote it. We pay attention to the votes, and we actually jammed something in recently, and I can't remember what it was because it had like 4 or 5 upvotes that everything else is sitting at 1. So obviously enough people were interested in it that we decided to make it a priority. So if there's something in there that you really want, vote for it. If there's something in there that you don't see something that you want, add it there, and come on here and start telling people about the cool things that you want to see added to manage comics. And also, I did a whole bunch of work on the guide recently, so I updated it. I think 2 or 3 weeks ago. So for by all means, download it. So you'll find it at bit.ly/mc2-guide. You'll also find it in help under getting started. So it's like the first link off of help. Yeah, so that will do that. So any questions about any of the things that we're working on? Any questions about the guide? Any questions about voting on features before I jump into Google My Business? I'm going to give you 5 seconds because I know there's a little bit of a delay. Plus, you may have to type. In the meantime, I'm going to shrinkify the vote on features so you can see my lovely backdrop. So I just saw, so that's a Tony Harris Starman drawing behind me. And I just saw Tony Harris at the Toronto Comic Con a couple of weeks ago, and I showed him a picture of the thing. He was saying that he's charging over $1,000 for those things. He did that for $60 for me back in 2004 because that's what he was charging for at the time. So, yeah, that makes me pretty happy. That will never go anywhere though, over my dead body, because it's literally the first thing I see when I walk into my office every day. Let us talk about Google My Business. So, quarterly updating at the minimum is really, really important. Google My Business gives search engines signals that lets them know that you're open for business, that lets them know you haven't closed. It gets you on the map. It's a good, easy place to update your hours. It is the most used platform for searches. So if somebody's going to be looking for your business, if somebody's looking for a comic shop or a game store, that's where they're going to go first, is Google. They're going to do a Google search, and whatever comes up comes up. With that in mind, one thing I've noticed recently, and I know I'm not crazy because I've heard other people mention this as well, sometimes your hours will get changed. And I think what's happening is that if you aren't updating it frequently enough, and somebody else goes in there and changes your hours, if Google doesn't hear no from you, it basically says, okay, well, this sounds reasonable to me. So a lot of people notice this kind of hours have changed during the pandemic, right? And a lot of people have noticed that some of those hours kind of went back in time. So it could be people changing them. Could just be Google saying, okay, for 10 years, the hours were this, and suddenly they become this. We don't believe that. So just make sure you check that, because you could be in for a nasty surprise. So to get into Google My Business, you're going to go to google.com/business. You will log in with your Google account. Hopefully you've already claimed your business. If you haven't, I'm going to give you a little pro tip right now. And we will change screens here. Yeah. So over here, you're seeing my Manage Comics Google My Business listing. So this is actually how it appears on the internet. If you see somewhere here, claim your business, you need to do that. So get in there, claim your business. They'll require you to have a postcard sent to your address, and then you'll kind of enter in a number from that thing, and that's how you claim your business. But if you don't do that, yeah, you can't do any of the next things. So if you're not able to get into Google My Business, that's the first thing you'll need to do is claim it. So when I'm logged into Google My Business, I'm going to start out on this home screen. There's all kinds of things that I can do here. I can create a post, add photos, create an ad, which of course costs money. We'll see how many searches I've appeared in, what my trend is on those things, reviews, news, all that stuff. Going to info, which is usually where I kind of go first. I can update all my hours, so I could, change all my hours. I wish that you could kind of cascade this stuff so that it would go all the way down once you change it once, but you actually have to go in there and manually update all of them. You can also change So holiday hours, special hours. So I've closed us on Good Friday tomorrow. We'll be closed on Easter Sunday, and Easter Monday we're open normal hours. So I just kind of posted all that stuff earlier today. You can add special event hours. So you could say that you're having, a special after hours thing one night, and you can put information about that. You can add your phone, which I should actually change this. We have a 1877 number now, so I should make sure that's changed. I forget what this is. Craig, you can speak to this. You made me add this, and I don't remember why. I think it's so that we can track our clicks to from Google My Business. Um, so that's kind of that in a nutshell. But what I thought would be cool, and I haven't done this, so this could go horribly awry. I'm going to click the so there's like a wizard here where we can keep everything up to date. So we'll confirm that our business is open. Yes. We're going to go through and confirm all of our hours. Yes. We will say, are masks required? Sure. We're not doing temperature checks. We're not doing, we are doing appointments required because I don't want people coming to my home office. Thank you. Mask required for staff. Sure. Temperature. Yeah, that sounds all reasonable. And then thanks for your update. So now that little thing should go away. I refresh. Yeah, goes away. The other thing that we'll do is check our reviews and see if there's any reviews. If there are, we don't want to reply to those to those reviews. You can add photos. So I've added a number of photos from our former office, and this is my home office here. So you can definitely add those, which will just kind of give some flavor to your site. Make sure that your logo is up to date because ours was not recently. You can add, information about the services that you do, the products that you offer. A lot of this stuff will get filled out if you're using the Google channel on Shopify. So if you're using that, this will already be filled out. Yeah, don't ever use a Google website. And that's kind of it in a nutshell. The one thing I do want to kind of talk a little bit about. So Craig, let me get back to me. Craig says we use customized URL to track traffic from this area. So Craig has created a Google URL in Google Analytics so that we can track those specific URL. So the info section, like I said, is where your major information lives. This is where your hours, which you need to check fairly regularly to make sure that it's not changed on you. Update your holiday hours. And one of the good practices to get into is just to log in occasionally and update these holiday hours, because this will remind Google that you haven't forgotten about your listing. And it'll also make it give less chances that things are going to get changed on you. Reviews are a super powerful signal. Getting reviews will really help build your presence on Google. It lets them know that you are an active business that is, well liked by the community. It actually boosts your ranking a little bit, and responding to the reviews in a timely manner within, a couple days is always great, even if it's just to say thank you for the great review. So it's really, really easy to send out requests. And on this page here, we can see there's a little button down there. It'll be easier for me to show you on the actual page. So if we scroll down here, we will see get reviews right there. So when you click on get reviews, it gives you the opportunity to send it via email, WhatsApp, or Facebook. These will just create links on those different things, but you can also just copy it and then paste it, into an email that you would send out, maybe through the Managed Comics email system. And this will open up a window for each individual person if they're logged into Google and allow them to place a review on their site, on your site right there. So that reminds me, why don't we just, I'm going to just copy this and I'm going to pop it into the chat. And why don't you guys go ahead and leave a review for Managed Comics? Anybody that leaves a review right now will be able to actually approve it, and you'll get to see that whole process where I go through and reply to a review. So I'll give you a couple seconds to leave a positive 5-star review about how amazing Managed Comics is and how we care about not just comics, but also your business. Don't all say the exact same thing though, because then it'll look like I hired bots. So yeah, you can also leave a photo as a reviewer. You can leave a nice, some positive comments there, and then as a retailer, you're gonna respond to those things, and that helps to improve the signals that are sent out. I think that's gonna do it for. Oh no, I just pushed the wrong button. I lost you guys. Where'd you go? There you are. Yeah, I think that'll do it for reviews. If anybody posts a review, I will see them and be able to respond to them, and I can even show you my responses in real time. Look at that. Would you look at this? Somebody already reviewed. Wow, I can't believe it. Look at this. So on here, as Managed Comics, I'm going to say, thank. I just cannot type today. So I post that reply, and what will happen now is that will show up on our listing. So if it may take a while for your reviews to start showing up on your listing, but we've got one Google review here. So yeah, we will see Google reviews there. So yeah, that's our reviews. Anybody have any questions for us? Because this is the question and answer portion of the stream. Anyone? Any questions? Craig, do you have any questions for me? I'll bet you do. Brian, what do you even do anymore? That's a great question, Craig, and I'm glad you asked it. I'm working on a couple Shopify websites right now. Actually, we're working on 4 different Shopify websites, and I think we're doing a 5th starting next week. So yeah, we work with individual stores to help build their Shopify sites. I'm actually seriously considering, and this is a great community to ask this in. I'm considering having a Shopify theme built specifically for comic stores, because I think we've built probably 10 Shopify stores so far. And as I build them, we use a premium theme called Expanse or one called Warehouse. They're both great themes. But I would really, there's stuff that I would like to do differently. One of them is I'd like to leverage meta tags for the tag sorting. So I was actually talking to a dude about building a custom Managed Comics theme. It is going to be really expensive, but if I had enough demand, if we had like 10, 15 stores that were interested in it fairly soon, it would be a no-brainer to do it, because I think over time we'll definitely make our money back. It's going to be a bit of an investment in the beginning, but I see this as something that we can work with this guy over time to kind of keep on improving it. So it wouldn't be just like a one off thing. It would be one of those things where we kept on doing it. I think the only way to make it like revenue neutral is probably to charge about $300 for it, which is fairly comparable with the other ones out there. The only difference is ours will be built with comic stores in mind, meaning large catalogs, deep kind of dimensional sorting. and all that kind of stuff as well. So yeah, if you're interested, let me know. I'm going to be sending out an email about this week, kind of judging some interest. To answer some questions before I forget, is there a way to edit tags on each item as we go through the check-in process? So no, there's not. And we probably will at some point make tag editing one of the things that you can do kind of in the settings. Doing it in the check-in process seems like a real burden. And the check-in process to me is already kind of overloaded. So adding more stuff to the check-in process doesn't seem like a great idea. You can always go in afterwards into Shopify itself and edit your tags however you want to, which is honestly where I would recommend you do that part. Because you would tag the thing as this week's books. So now you're going to have a tag that you can use against it to go in there and change tags. So right now, no, there's no way to to edit the tags on each item. And I don't know if that's something that we'll offer anytime soon. But by all means, go to roadmap.managedcomics.com, add that as a request. And if enough people upvote it, then it'll be something that we work on. Craig says, if I wanted help with Shopify, what would I do? Well, that's a great question, Craig. And that's why you're my business partner. So you're going to go to managedcomics.com/Shopify. And we've got a little form there where you can fill out and we can walk through some of the Shopify stuff that we've done in the past. BD Cosmos, this is Julian, who says, I would like to be a beta tester for your own Shopify theme. There you go. Well, we'll definitely give that a whirl if we get to that point. Alter Ego asks, also wondering if there'll be an app made for customers to easily wait for it. Manage comics. No. So there is no, there won't be. It's hard enough to manage one application on the web. We're a tiny team. We're only like 4 people. Managing a iOS app and an Android app and web app. Yeah, that ain't happening until we hit like probably 200 or 300 stores where we could afford to have enough people on to do something like that. Also, I'm not a big fan of Managed Comics being the brand that you send people to. The whole point of Managed Comics, and especially Managed Comics 2, is giving you more control over having your customers on your side. To do an app would have, like, we don't even have enough data about your customers to have them in an app that's separate from your store, if that makes sense at all. So right now, probably not. Yeah, Comics says, right now the discount tiers for subscribers are based on the number of raw subscriptions. That's based on a basic assumption that subscribers tend to get only one copy of an issue and that cost of cover is about the same. But what if I have subscribers that buy multiple copies? How about an option to base the discount tiers on dollar values? Yeah, we can look at something like that. Again, go ahead and vote it on the roadmap.managedcomics.com. Happy to look at other options. Dollar values get a little trickier because now we have to track kind of a monthly dollar value over the last 30 days kind of thing. Not impossible. It's just something that we'd have to do. Maybe something that you might want to consider even cooler would be a loyalty rewards program instead of a discount tier. Number one, loyalty rewards cost you less as a retailer than what a discount does. Number two, it's easier to track and you actually encourage more purchases in your store than just the subscriptions. So just a couple of things you could consider. But yeah, it's definitely something. If you get it on the roadmap and we start getting votes for it, it'll get done. Ivan says it's easy. It's easy to bulk tag, remove tags from the products page. Yeah, so the bulk kind of product edit page is where I go in and can edit tags fairly deeply. Alter Ego Lounge says, sweet. The madness is I turn discounts off almost 10 years ago. Didn't lose any customers and rarely have new customers come in asking for discounts. Yeah, and you're not alone, Jim. I'm not sure actually if this is Jim or Zach, but either way, um, yeah, it's you're not alone. A lot of places don't offer discounts, and some places will offer discounts on pre-order items that are prepaid, and that kind of makes sense because it changes your cash flow kind of weighting. So yeah, it would make sense to me. Again, I personally think that a loyalty program is more effective than um, a discounting program, because a discounting program is literally just taking money out of your pocket, whereas a loyalty program, you can do cool things like, loyalty programs can think of air miles. You can only redeem the points on certain items. So if you have a loyalty program where you've got kind of a big wide swath of things, let's say, the top 50 products that you could want to buy, and those are things that you manage to get at a higher discount, your loyalty program costs you less and less over time because you're buying things at a discount, making those things available, that kind of stuff. And Jim, I believe, because if it was 10 years ago, I said it was Zach, says prepaid deserves a discount. Absolutely, 100%. Okie dokie. Any other questions, folks? Did I have anything else to say? So I'm coming back to weekly shows starting next week. The way I'm going to do it is I'm going to kind of alternate every other week. So next week will be a kind of more freeform thing where I'm just going to go through some managed comic stuff. And what I'm hoping to do is kind of almost treat these like live demos on the off weeks. And then the opposite week will be kind of a theme. So for the example, this week was all about Google My Business. The next one I might do is kind of around invoicing and how the entire invoicing kind of concept works from beginning to end. Actually, no, the next one I do will be around emails, guaranteed, because our email stuff will be all done, and I'll want to talk about all that stuff. But like next week, we'll definitely do kind of just an overview so that folks who are kind of newer to the platform can get in here and understand kind of some of the nitty gritty of how things work. And if you guys who've been around for a while, like Julian and Jim and you guys, if you're here to kind of help me with some of the things that I don't know, one of the bad things about not owning a comic store is that I don't have the day to day. Right. So I don't have the day-to-day experience of, what is holding me back and what is working really well. One of the good things about not owning a comic store is I have time to focus on the platform and not my store and the platform. So yeah, I kind of rely on you guys to tell me, okay, this is hinky because, X. And then we'll get in there and tweak things as we find them. So if you have questions, send them to help@managedcomics.com. Maybe you could tag them as like ThoughtStream, like give it at the end of your subject line -ThoughtStream. And then I'll still get back to you fairly quickly, just because I like to close that queue down as quickly as I can. But it would be great to have ThoughtStream questions that I could ask on the show. And then yeah, every other week we'll do something kind of a little more freeform, and then on the off weeks we'll do or on the on weeks I should say, we'll do kind of target based thing. Dream Days CFG says, since you have some insight on the various social media sites, would you mind if I ask you about a Facebook problem we're having? Sure, shoot. We'll take a Facebook problem. Craig, be on the listen, because this may apply to you as well. BD Cosmos says, don't I email you all the time about hinky stuff? Yeah, but not just data. Don't just send me data problems. Gosh, those are so boring. And 9 times out of 10, I can't do anything about them. Because, yeah, I know you just mentioned, Jillian, about, like, for example, the Marvel Masterworks not having series codes, and so that's one of the things that we've identified as something that's problematic. And we're actually talking with Penguin Random House and Diamond and Marvel about those things, and trying to figure out kind of how we can come up with a consistent way to identify them properly. Um, Julian says, "What exactly do you want then?" It's fine. Like honestly, send me any problems you have, and if I can't fix them, I won't fix them. But some of these things are just like they're at a level higher than me. That yeah, we can fix them, but we're not fixing them for like a longer term solution, if that makes any sense. So like we're part of the Comics Pro data conversations that are going on constantly, and we helped craft an email that went to Marvel, Penguin Random House, I think Diamond got it, DC got it, Lunar got it. And this thing was just about like series codes and issue sequence numbers and all that stuff that has changed significantly. And like Django from the Comics Place in Bellingham, Washington's involved in this. We've got a bunch of people from Comic Hub, so it's a bigger kind of thing. Julian says, if you need different kind of data, we have all the data that's available to us, Jillian. So that's not really the problem. The problem is the data is fundamentally broken. So yeah, it sucks. So like for example, what we probably need to do is build some sort of crowdsourcing tool that will let us identify, um, all the Marvel Masterworks together. Because we can do it, but it's one person looking at the data, or maybe two or three people looking at the data, versus there's 72 of you guys that use Managed Comics right now. So if you're looking through it and one of you notices, oh, this should be tied to this, and another you notices this should be tied to this, things will happen a lot faster than if I'm going through 3,200 items every month. So Dreamsday says, for some reason, Facebook is saying we're temporarily closed, even though we have hours in it for each day of the week. Any idea how to fix this? I don't actually have an idea. Craig, I know you can't call Bob Facebook, which would be really handy if you could just give Bob Facebook a call and say, "Hey, Bob, why won't this work?" You might need to. Yeah, so Facebook does have some help. You might need to jump in there and send an email and hope that it goes off to the right person and hope that you eventually get something. But yeah, I don't unfortunately have an answer to that one. We'll listen out for. Oh, Craig says it looks like temporarily closed is an option. I wonder if you have a toggle on that you're not aware of. That's a good question. Sorry, I'm not being clear. What kind of day-to-day operation stuff in a comic book store would you like me to let you know about? So this is just like as you're going through, your check-ins, and you find that every time you do your check-ins, you stumble on one thing. That'd be a great thing to know. One of the things that we found out fairly early on when we launched 2.0 was that customers will come in and pick up 10 books and leave 12 behind. So we had to add on those little, toggles to allow you to create an order. Julian, with you and Binder Paws, we need to figure out how we can best, like, actually, you and I should talk offline about this at some point, about how we can create orders, because Binder Paws doesn't let you create orders from draft orders. So how can we do it best so that it's kind of streamlined for you? I doubt this customer is really breaking my balls more than usual. No, I'm good on that. But yeah, for sure. I think you and I should have a offline chat sometime and go through kind of what we might be able to do to help kind of streamline the order, the in-store ordering process for you. Anybody else have any questions? I'm going to see if there's anything else on my slide that we need to talk about. No, it's just get Managed Comics 2. You guys all have Managed Comics 2, so you don't need to get it. You're already in. Yeah, Madness says, please include us in your Binder Paws discussions. Absolutely. Yeah. The reason I'm going to talk to Julian first is because he's been using Binder Paws for a long time. So he kind of knows the ins and outs of it fairly well. Jim, you guys are a little bit newer on it, and I know you're probably getting up to speed fast. But yeah. Call me whenever Rachel's almost done for the semester. That doesn't sound good. Is that bad? Does that mean Rachel goes away? Oh no. Rachel's terribly helpful. All right, folks, I think that's going to do it for this week. If you have any questions in the meantime, you know where to go. Help.managecomics.com. Help@managecomics.com is where you send an email. Help.managecomics.com is where you find all your help information. Roadmap.managecomics.com is where you're going to add any feature things. And if you're just kind of lost, go to managecomics.com and click on all of the wonderful links that are there that will take you to all these various places. So yeah, thank you so much for your time. I hope you got some good stuff out of this, and send out those reviews on Google, and I will respond to each one of them, and we'll get some more 5-star reviews. By the way, if you don't already know and you haven't already done it, go to Shopify, and you know what? I'll include a link right here. So we've been asking folks to leave reviews for the app. We've gotten some really, really good feedback from people, good folks like Jillian who left a 5-star review. Go ahead there and add a review. It helps to kind of surface the app on Shopify. The more kind of the more people that we get using the app, and we can handle tons more people. The more folks we get using it, the more it funds more development, the more I can, hire on extra people. We've brought on a data guy to help out with the data. We're bringing on, we've got our developer guys. I would love to get that theme going, because I think that's going to benefit everyone. So yeah, the more reviews that we have, kind of the better it does for our business overall. So yeah, please. And if you are considering leaving anything other than a 5-star review, let me know first. Let me know what I did wrong, and we'll make it right. All right, folks, thank you so much for your time, and we will see you next week.